I think when you get a group of Australian rural families together, and particularly women, which is the space that I work in, you can create such change. And I think there's an understanding that it doesn't matter where you come from, you've all got common experiences and you've got similar values and you're fighting for the same thing.
We are the heart of this country. We want to keep rural Australia alive, but to stay in the bush, we need to be able to deliver an education system to the students living in rural and remote Australia.
ICPA to us is an amazing organisation. They're out there batting for the quality of education for rural and distance ed remote kids. That's basically what it's all about.
ICPA is the only organisation in Australia to get benefits and lobby for our children in rural remote areas.
ICPA has built up a reputation for knowing their stuff, investigating all of the details, bringing along the right information, being able to get information from the people that have children being educated. They can get all of that information and take it to the right places.
Today at the Isolated Children and Parents Association conference, we've had a couple of fantastic speakers come in. Paul Fletcher from the Communications Ministry, and that was a fantastic gift because that man came and he shared and he listened authentically.
Some of the stories that people talked about today are the challenges of living remotely, educating your children, some of the frustrations with the combined effect of two problems. One, that the interim satellite service had some real design flaws under the previous government.
The thing that is really important at the moment is telecommunications. We struggle every month to be able to provide the right education aspects for our son with the telecommunications that we have, relying on satellite communication.
The role of the distance education home tutor is so important. Often it's the mother.
I have taught on and off throughout the last 7 years of our teaching of distance ed. 8:30 is their first satellite lesson for the day. That's times tables, that runs for half an hour. So that's where they log on to their computers and they actually get to see their teacher. Well, it is their right, and that's what ICPA is all about as well. I mean, every child, it's by law, is entitled to an education.
And some recognition for the time taken to deliver what the government can't is invaluable.
The Isolated Children and Parents Association for me is about how do we really understand what it's like to be educated from a distance, and what are the things that work, what are the things that don't work. And for me, that relationship and how we look after this really important group of customers, I think there's around about 3,000 kids across the country that are being educated either at home or through School of the Air or in some way which is at a distance. That relationship for me is about what do we do, what can we do to really help them. I'm a father of 5 children, and for me their education is how I'm creating their future, but also the future for the country, if you like. So if they're in the bush or if they're in cities, they should have an equal opportunity to learn and be inspired about what they can do.
If we're wanting people to come back to the bush, we really need to be able to give them the education so they compete with the rest of the country and still feel like they're contributing when they get home again. Not feel like they're a second-class citizen because they live out in the bush.
My role as the ICPA ambassador is to ensure that remote kids get equal access to education of the highest level. I am planning on taking the message from this conference to Parliament and Canberra and ensuring that the politicians understand it's actually paramount that we have equal access to education of high quality in the bush, and that the role that the home tutor plays should be recognised. Not only are they running their businesses, keeping the family unit together, they're also educating their kids. And I plan on working on behalf of ICPA to ensure that even a small part of that is recognised, because these women are phenomenal and they deserve it.
Every child deserves an education, and every child has to have access to education no matter where you are. It's an entitlement to a child. You don't bring children into this world not to educate them, and you do your best to get them the best education that you possibly can. And distance ed for us delivers that.